Hey, Allie.
Hey, Seth.
So today we have Mandie Ledkins. She is running for state senate in the great state of Alabama, my home state. So
Hell
she is the
yeah.
first politician that I get to talk to and we get to talk to here in the home state of
Yay!
Alabama. She's
So
running for
exciting.
District 14. And it's not easy to find progressive candidates in the state of Alabama.
I can
But
imagine.
yeah, but when I
Yeah.
when I when I first saw Mandy, actually was at an Indivisible event in downtown Birmingham. She was loud and proud and uncompromising. She might have thrown a little French in there too, but we but
Love it.
I'm part French, baby, so I love that.
Oh wow.
I love that.
I always say excuse my mother's language because and I told her that the other day and she was like, "Oh my gosh." I said, "But it's true. I grew up in a very like liberal, outgoing, like outspoken household. And so my parents dropped the F-bomb like it was like, the adjective to use.
hmm
And I didn't
As
really do that.
all as all
Right?
intelligent people do, Mandy.
Exactly, because my dad was like, I remember being like, "Why do you always say that?" And he's like, "It just comes out." He's like, "But listen to this sentence. Look at this new backpack. Look at this fucking new backpack I got." He's like, "It automatically enhances the sentence." And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm not.
It's the
I'm
it's the it's
that.
the it's a great word for emphasis and other
hmm
things.
Yeah.
So I love it. And again, I love the energy. I was immediately like, okay, Mandy's a person that I can relate to, and she's uncompromising. And she's not afraid to say it. I mean, she was down in the state capitol just a week or
Oh
so ago when
yeah.
we started doing this redistricting bullshit.
Oh
And
God.
I knew she
Yeah.
would be. I knew she would be. So
Oh yeah. It's awful.
yeah, it is. So
Yeah.
first thing I wanted to ask you, Mandy, is your part of your campaign, one of your main things is access for Alabama, and that means
Yes.
different things for different people. But I want
Exactly.
you to explain to the viewers and anybody from Alabama that's watching the show, what does access for Alabama mean to you?
Yeah. So, what it looks like for me is things that we can do to make, like, for instance, healthcare more accessible to more people, no matter what that looks like. Is it something where they just need, like, right now, we kind of have the marketplace, or people like to brand it Obamacare, and they just need more of a tax credit on that, which we took
Yes.
away with the big, beautiful bill? Or is it we need to expand Medicaid, which is my number one platform? So for me, that would bring access not only to healthcare for almost 400,000 Alabamians, but it also bring access to other members of the community. It would open 4 more rural hospitals that have been closed. So that bring, so when we give access to a group that needs it, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are only seeing the benefits. It's going to come back tenfold because those small rural hospitals are going to employ nurses, they're going to employ doctors. Those are things I think people don't realize when we talk about like expanding Medicaid and bringing that access to people. It's something like we would only put in like 10% and the federal government matches it with 90. So it's a 10% investment for 4 rural hospitals, 4 to 5, and you have to think about that funds the doctors and all that stuff too. And
Yeah.
I just think that if that makes sense there for you, as far as like just bringing it, a lot of people think there's something on my website that I can't quote it verbatim, but I wrote, and it was basically like a lot of times people think when I say that it's just like I just want to like give everything away. Now I would if I could. I just want to take care of everybody, but that's not necessarily what I mean. It just means making sure that everybody has the same access to healthcare and the same, you know, drugs, the same everything,
Yeah.
regardless of where that healthcare is, whether it's Medicaid or Blue Cross Blue Shield or whatever. They need to be able to access the same treatments and facilities and those sorts of things too.
Yeah, a little context for people who aren't from Alabama. We have had chances to expand Medicare and Medicaid multiple times, and
Oh yeah.
to the detriment of our rural hospitals. And
Mm.
so, as time goes on, people get further and further and further away from a hospital. I mean, we're talking about 60-mile rides in an
Oh
ambulance to
yeah.
get to a hospital,
Crazy.
and by then, you may be gone.
Oh,
And
I
so
mean,
this
Yeah.
is something that is just something that's it's unsustainable, and it's unacceptable. in
Yeah.
2026.
100%. Not when it's 10% investment on our part and it
Yeah.
brings 90% of funding home that we already send out anyway. Why not bring it home? And people in our government who say they care about healthcare, i.e., my opponent, that the incumbent who was a nurse previously, they obviously don't care about those things because they don't push for the things that not only would benefit the people getting the healthcare that don't have it, but also all the people around them,
Yeah.
It's just sad.
It's sad. That's very sad. Um, okay, Mandie. So you describe yourself as a working class American.
Yes.
You are daughter of a Vietnam vet.
Hmm.
You say you're not a politician, you're just kind of stepping into politics,
Yeah.
which pretty much every candidate we've spoken to so far comes from that same experience, with the
Yeah.
exception of maybe one. Um, I'm curious, was there a singular event that sort of prompted you to run for office, or was it like a culmination of things and you reached a threshold and was like, okay, I have to do something about this?
Yes, I love this question. I love this question. Okay. So I have always been political and an advocate ever since I was like 9 years old. After Bill Clinton won, I became very obsessed with. I'm a Democrat because I asked my dad, like, why did we vote for? I said we because obviously I went with them to vote, and they had talked
Hmm.
about it, and I'd watched it on the news, and we had a mock election at school, and I was like, why did y'all vote for Bill Clinton versus the other guy? Of course I'm a kid, I'm like 10 at this point, 9 or 10, and he was like, well, because Democrats care about poor people like us. And we grew up in, below poverty level in rural Alabama. And so it just kind of touched me. So I've always been outspoken for
Yeah.
people, and anything that is wrong. It doesn't matter who you are. I'm going to speak up for you. I
Hmm.
always joke if you're on those television shows where the person walks by and is like, you see something happening. I'm always like, are you kidding? Like I'm the first person, and
Right.
anybody can vouch for that. Even people don't necessarily care for if somebody was being rude to them in a way, or I would
Yeah.
definitely step in. That's always just kind of been me. I've been feisty and loud, and I was also. Like I said, I was involved in politics as far as like a hobby, right?
Mhm.
Like I loved volunteering for campaigns in college, and I loved going to protests and advocating for people. And I really just kind of saw it as a hobby. Like in college, I was in Auburn Democrats. I went to Auburn, War Eagle.
Mm.
War
And
Eagle.
then, yes, there we go.
Right.
And it became, as I had children, I have 4 kids, as they became, it was more passionate. I felt for it, I think more like, but it had to be, I put it more to the side as like,
Yeah.
again, a hobby. I watched C-SPAN, but I also thought, Obama was in office like right when I got out of college and like those years. So it felt almost like, I always say now, it was like the grown-ups had it, right? And I
Mm.
could use it as a hobby. And then after the election, I had lost my job that I'd been working on the product with Wendy a couple days before, and then we lost the election. And I woke up the next morning at like 3 a.m. and I had like drank a bottle of wine and eaten like 18 caramel Reese's cups, and they were all over me. And I was just
You
like,
were not
oh,
alone, girl.
no, we were all like, it was devastating. And I just was like, I was back in that moment. Like, I was in 2016, the girl that when Trump was elected, I was crying in my bedroom, and people were like,
Yeah.
Mandie, you're
Yeah.
ridiculous. And I was like, no, you don't get it.
Yeah.
I get
Um,
it.
so fast forward, I felt even more like, God, I'm the bottom of the barrel. And I really thought like I've been fighting. And even for me, I mean, I've been an advocate in Loud for 20 years or most of my life, but it felt like, oh, it's finally time, like to have a woman. And I got really just like a lot of people broken. And I didn't have a job. I'd been interviewing, didn't know what I wanted to do. And again, I'm part of the Democratic club here in Shelby County. Shout out to our chapter. It's great. Um, and I just was like, you know what? I'm going to run for something. I
Mm.
looked around the room and I thought, where are all the adults? And I was like, I'm the damn adult at 39. Like, I'm the millennial motherfucking adult. Like, because these people are not making good choices. Again, as somebody who's been very passionate and involved and very, smart, I feel like, self proclaimed. But
Mhm.
when it comes to politics and very aware, um, I was like, I can do so much better than any of them could. And I was just like, they need people like me there. And so from that moment, I was like, I'm the adult in the room. And then things just started to fall into place that just were like little things along the way that just were like, bing, 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 bing. This is
Like
it.
little guideposts letting you know this is your
Yes.
path.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I spoke to UAB, to their Democratic club, the college students, and recently, and I told them, I said, look, I said, this same passion you have right now at 22, I had that too. And like when I'm campaigning for Obama and stuff, and I was like, I didn't necessarily lose it, but I felt like I kind of put it to the side dormant a little bit because I didn't feel the urgency to act. Whereas right now we all feel urgency to act. But I was like, don't ever let that passion go away. I was like, because
Yeah.
for me, I think back to what if I had done that while having my babies and kept that passion? Like, where would I be now? I don't like to think what if. So I really am here at the right time. I mean, that I think it's finally like I've been led to this moment, and I've always loved, volunteer work and community work. And that's always been my driving factor. I've been in customer success for like 20 years, and I just love people. I studied anthropology. I love people. I love to study people, be around people, make people feel seen. And so it just all, again, just kind of fell into place. I met people along the way that it just kind of was like, this is it. And, kind of what you were saying about the first time you saw me at that same rally. So I go to protests all the time. I'm always going to be that girl. Even people who told me when I run for office, they're like, you don't see Mayor Woodfin out there protesting. And I was like, well, I'm not Mayor Woodfin. I was like, I'm going to be this girl. Like, I have to get it out. Like, that's how I do it. And I go to protest alone. Like, I go everywhere alone. I'm never bothered by that. I love to travel alone and all those things. But I went to the protest downtown because I was upset. I was so upset because I do a lot of work with the Latino community and Migrant Watch and things like that, helping record with ICE, and was so mad that day. And I went down and I actually crossed the street and was kind of by myself with this elderly lady, which I hate to say that, gosh. But she was older and she's like, I just have to stand still. And I was like, I get it. So I was standing up there, I was just getting mad. And I was like, I got to go say something. I got to get it out. So I went up because it felt kind of dormant again, the energy. And I'm always known for bringing energy. And sometimes I don't want to be that, like everybody wants to take a step back. And I thought that's what I wanted there, but I was like, no, it's needed, So I got up and I jumped up there and, just said, you've got to come together. You've got to, stick together, whatever. And then I left literally like after that. And I had a girl reach out to me that afternoon named Megan. And now she's like one of my dearest friends, and she's working on my campaign with me, like volunteer. She's a nurse practitioner at UAB. Like, she heard me speak and got motivated to get involved. And several people, like, that's, if I hadn't felt that conviction to speak, then she would have never been part of my campaign. And she's in Helena and I live in Alabaster, and they're like 10 minutes apart. So that's why I always believe in, like, if you feel that conviction to do something, I try to always follow that, because that was it. I felt the need to get up there and lift it up. And because of that, I gained several new volunteers that are wonderful, and I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, but yeah, did that answer your question? It was
absolutely.
Kind of,
I mean, Mandie, best answer I've heard so far. Absolutely,
well,
you did. I love that.
I mean, this is the time. This is, if not now, for millennials win.
Exactly.
And if you're not gonna stand up now, then when are you gonna stand up? Because this is
Exactly.
some bullshit.
Oh,
This is some bullshit.
We going to Alabama now. Okay.
Yeah.
Ready for it.
I'm ready. I'm known for Bama Girl rants. I get my news and I get it in, and I just get so pissed off. I can't stand it. I just have to let it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, and I felt the same way. Like, I feel like, like like Bernie was the one who got me, like, inspired me to really get myself into politics. And then I feel like Trump has just turned me into a zealot of sorts. But again, like,
a lot of us.
The time is now for millennial leadership, for Gen X leadership, and we've even talked to a Gen Z one. So I love that young people like us are all stepping up.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, obviously, right now the redistricting is crazy. You were down in our capital city of Montgomery trying to fight that out. We're going to lose one of our two districts, and really the South is in, like, we're in this weird, awkward spotlight because Alabama went back on their word. Kay Ivey went back on her word. Brian Kemp has now gone back on his word in Georgia. They tried to steal a seat in South Carolina. Thankfully, that was blocked. But here we are, right?
Always
And
fighting.
yeah, it's time. But what was your experience down in Montgomery, and what is all this redistricting kind of made you
Yeah.
feel like?
Yeah. So I actually was supposed to speak at a like mental health fair that morning. And I'd been down in Montgomery several days that week. But I was like, okay, I feel the need to be down there on Friday after things had escalated. And of course, I had booked the thing like months before, before all this happened. Because, of course, they called it within a day for the weekend session. And you're just like, especially as an organizer and an advocate, you like scramble to like, you're going to figure out who's going. Has somebody started something? Because we know, everybody knows, like, you're on it, like, immediately, like getting into your network. And so that morning, I ended up going down there, and I don't know, the energy was just so damper, and they tried everything to try to not hear us, and they tried to make us leave the state house. Well, then it ended up being me and a couple of friends. One, her name is Ashton, and she like streamed the whole thing live. And so people were like sending me like quotes afterwards that I had said, like in rage, that were like new campaign slogans that had a lot of F-bombs in it. But I go back and watch it, and I was just like in a rage. And like literally I'm sitting here I'm with a lady who is like one of the original, like, civil rights warriors. And I'm kind of like trying to keep out an eye for her, because obviously she doesn't care if she gets arrested. She doesn't care. She's like, hey, been moving me the back of the bus since I was a kid. And it's just heartbreaking to hear these 65-year-old, 75-year-old women who are still fighting. So like we're sitting there and we're not getting up, and there's literally like 5 state troopers right there. And I was just like, I could just kept saying, you know better than this. And they would not look me in the eyes. And AL.com actually ran a photo of me, and I'm like, the intensity is crazy. And I'm like, and the caption was Mandie Ledkins scolding state troopers at the state house. And I was like,
what?
yeah. And I was
Yeah.
like,
I mean, that should just be your like campaign photo, slogan, everything.
yeah,
Slap that
it
on the
was.
website.
Yeah, no, we bought you can go on AL.com and like buy it to print it, make it better
Oh
quality. And
yeah.
my friend
Nice.
did. I mean, because at one point, again, like, because I had friends who were like watching it all live, and they were like, oh my God, are you okay? Because I'm sitting there and like some of the reps are like recording me live. And I go back and watch it, and I'm like, oh, I didn't remember. And they were like, no, it's great. And they would come up on the floor like and say, I heard your specific voice down there when I was speaking, and so there's just something that I felt I needed to be there again. And it was a lot of emotions. They wouldn't let us out for a little while. They wouldn't let a child go to the restroom because her mother was inside. And if you left, you couldn't get back in. And like the people they were with. Yeah. And then again, we finally we started chanting for them to they were trying to move us to a room to where we would only be able to view it on TV. And we were like, no, you're doing this they don't want to see our faces down there when they're voting. And it was definitely very intense. The day after, I definitely slept in the hammock and took a nap, but I think whatever I felt that day, this Saturday, we're doing a huge event, and they're saying it's going to be one of the biggest gatherings since like George Floyd.
Wow.
Like they're projecting like the Capitol today at State House, they started like blocking off, like barricading, like they're thinking like 10,000 people so far. I've been helping like people find rides and things like that. And I think so far there's like 75 buses already, like with numbers set up you can call to get rides. And so people are really, really worked up and really emotional. And like I was saying, the lady that, I was kind of hanging out with, and when we went out, I was crying, but I didn't want it to be like white girl tears. Like, I'm not trying to this is not about me. It was more the rage of like, I was in that moment, and like, I wasn't trying to get arrested, but I wasn't, and they were threatening, but it was like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm in the house that I pay for with my taxes. Telling you what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And, as we're chanting, like, let us in, and they finally let us in and let us watch. And I'm recording the video, and I'm like, this is democracy, with literally 6 state troopers around me and like 4 other women like watching it. And I'm just like, I can't believe we're here. And I can't believe these women are consoling me. Like, I was crying afterwards, and she hugged me. It's going to be all right, baby. We know your heart. It's going to be, I've been here before. No, that should not but oh my goodness, Black people, in Alabama have just been stepped on and chewed up and
Yeah.
hurt, for so long that they're used to it. And that is not okay. It's kind of like I say, I have a lot of people in the trans community that are good friends of mine. And they're some of the most amazing people you ever meet because they've been hurt so badly that they never want anybody else to feel hurt, right? And that's how I felt about my friend that day when we were at the Capitol. But it's all of these people that like you could feel all the emotions. There's people who are like, I feel like in their like early 20s that this is like a start of a fight for them. So they're just like it's almost like the stages of grief when you're, something's going on politically sometimes, right? Like you mourn it. It was kind of like after the loss in 24, you have your grief stage, your mad stage, and I feel like that's how it is with advocacy work sometimes because it's so draining,
Yeah.
And so, we're gearing up for a big weekend this weekend. So I hope y'all, if you see anything, share it for us because just
for
need
sure.
people there,
That's exciting. Really exciting. So, Mandie, you're a mother of 4. I'm a mother of 2. My girls are grown. And if you're anything like me, I'm sure part of your advocacy and now running for office has a lot to do with the world you want to create for your children, right? The world that you want to leave them. So, thinking in terms of Alabama, what kind of Alabama do you want to leave your children that feels different, from the one that you grew up in, for example?
Oh, for sure. Oh, that's a good question too. So honestly, I think too, I was on a call with Bernie Sanders' team last summer, and it was through Run for Something. And one of the first questions they asked us was, have you thought about what running a campaign like this would do to your family?
Yeah.
Have you? And I started crying and, and people were answering and I was like, I wrote down in my journal because I'm a writer. And so like when I think something intensely, stop. Sorry, y'all, my dog is trying to
It's okay.
get over here, buddy. It's okay. Lay down. Oh my gosh. Sorry, she's a chocolate lab. That's
she's
a
so
baby.
beautiful.
Oh my gosh, she's crazy though. She's just like, okay, you're talking about something emotional.
Lab's got energy.
Get
got nothing but energy.
Get in there, babe. You're allowed. It's okay.
But
we love the doggies.
Oh gosh, she's a sweet girl. But I was like, I wrote down and I was like, they were like, thought about what this would do to your family. I was like, I'm thinking about my 3 daughters and what it would do if I didn't. Like, I can't sit around and wait for nobody's coming to save us. Like, we have to do this ourselves. And the first thing I think is, I have not raised girls that are going to go back to the kitchen. I hope y'all know that. Like, they are like the childish cat ladies that are like, ooh, boys, just because they're seeing, they're seeing what's out there right now. And I don't have to tell them what to think by any means. They're very wildly independent, but they are on YouTube and they'll see like these awful political ads and they're like, ew, like, why would somebody do that? So our kids are affected. And I felt like mine are going to be affected either way. Why not be part of what's changing it, And I'm going to start first with the fact that my kids have less rights in Alabama than I do right now as a woman, and that's scary. So bodily autonomy and getting that, it's like first priority for me here. Like, let's get us to that, please. Back where we were, back for what my grandmother fought for and my aunt. This is, it's like, I can't believe we're going through this again, Amanda.
I know.
Is what they say to me.
I know. It's crazy, Mandie. It's wild.
It's insane to me.
It really is.
It's like, I read this stuff in history. Like, how do other people not see that it's it's literally happening again? And that's what blows my mind,
I agree.
It's wild. It's wild. Mandie, as a millennial, and it's kind of my story too. And I feel like it's a lot of our stories. We've graduated, we've gotten jobs, we've been laid off, we've had to start over, kind of recreate ourselves a little bit.
Yes.
And now, here we are, almost in our 40s. And we're deciding
not in any better place.
Yeah. And so we're sitting here like, man, we're pissed off. We're this is not what we were promised. And so what I want to ask you is, you've had to recreate yourself several times. You've worked in multiple industries. You've worked in customer service and the corporate world as well.
Yeah.
What do you think having to kind of recreate yourself and jump into different jobs and different industries? How do you feel like that's prepared you to jump into office and be an effective leader?
Oh, I like this question too. So I have always said that change is, I mean, Darwin tells us that it's those who are able to adapt that survive. Change is the only constant. It's the only thing besides being born and dying that we know is going to happen in life. So I've always been very go with the flow when it comes to that, but also taking my talents to, I started out in retail management and grew that. And then I'd started for, I hate to say my age here, but Sears. And I worked for Sears corporate. And I started seeing though, like the dying of brick and mortar, right?
Yeah.
And so I went to Gap specialty because I thought, oh, well, specialty shops will be, right? And I loved Gap. But then I was like, okay, I kind of need something this merchandising and peopling, but in the tech world, So I did like kind of evolve those skills and just kind of took them along the way. And I think having been able to do that and adapt to different changes with, like, again, with the rising of apps and all those sorts of things and, smartphones. And then I went to Shipped and worked there and got to see that kind of world as, from an app. Just tech world now is so different. Shopping online, I was like, that's the future, right? So I feel like I've always been able to foresee the next step. For me, again, I never thought I was going to run for office. I've always been heavily involved, advocate. But now I just see that as, hey, I have literally studied people in the wild, in the online environment, in the corporate setting, as an anthropologist, all these things for 20 years. And I am like, I even have it on my resume that I'm empathetic and, have emotional awareness, because those are not things a lot of people have.
Those soft skills, I mean,
Yeah.
hard to come by, especially with younger generations that are
Yes.
doing this their entire
Because
lives.
of that. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I've just, I always said that one of my greatest skills in customer success and working with teams, whether it was me managing a team of 100 people or me talking to people all over the United States as, corporate manager at Ship, talking to them, the maddest customers or, the biggest issues or whatever. My ability for somebody to come in frustrated and leave at least content and us good, even if I wasn't able to solve their problem because I listened to them and made them feel seen. My ability to do that is just unwavering. And I think that, again, that's just because I've gone through a lot of adversity in my life, but I also have kept myself grounded, to where I feel like I can share those stories that I've heard along the way. That's going to help me also be a storyteller. And I think that all those people I've met along the way, all those different people that I've helped, when they were in those very dire situations, and my ability to have those, empathetic moments, all of that, I think is going to be what makes me a damn good senator, right? Because stories are the context that soften the heart to write policy, right? Like our whole idea is supposed to be to help the people we take care of in our communities. And that's what I want to do. I want to go share their stories. And I want to show how, you touched on this a second ago, where being a millennial, I graduated high school in 2005. I only got to go to 4-year college because my dad was a Vietnam vet. He got exposed to Agent Orange. And so I got the VA scholarship. So I got that boost to get me out of Fort Payne, where I thought, oh, I'm never going to get to go to college. And I wouldn't have without that. I mean, my parents still live below poverty. I mean, they've never even owned their home. Maggie, I'm okay. And so I went to college and I started working full time when I was 15 years old to help my parents pay bills. And so I never had a problem. I've always worked full time and worked really hard. I moved to Auburn and my parents gave me $20 the entire time I was there. They just couldn't. It's not that they didn't want to. But I moved there with $30 in my checking account and I knew I had to have a job, and I got there a couple hours before my aunt who was meeting me. And I'd only been to Auburn once ever when I went to like tour it. And I went and sat down in a cheeseburger to get lunch, and they had a now hiring sign. And the manager was there. I talked to her, and I already had a job. And my aunt got there, and she was pulling in. And I was like, I got a job already. And she was like, what? You've been here 2 hours. She goes, that's the day I knew that it wasn't just a you're good in rural Alabama taking care of yourself thing. Like, my parents really raised me in survival and to survive. So anytime I get to just live and be peaceful, like, that's easy to do. I'm used to survival. So I think that's also what, puts me in a good spot, because I'm used to working hard and doing these things. But it's like I did all that, and I was 21 and I found out I had cervical cancer with no insurance. Auburn student, worked full time at Red Lobster. 50 hours a week waiting tables. My fiance was doing the same. We both worked at Red Lobster, and I had to go through cervical cancer with no insurance. And so that's one reason why I'm a very big stickler for Medicaid expansion, because not only was I doing all the things, but it was very hard to find somebody in 2008 who would take somebody who's 21 years old. And the only person I could find wanted to do a full hysterectomy, and I was 20, and all I ever wanted was kids, and I didn't have resources. I didn't have anything. And so I didn't, and in that moment, I was in survival. I didn't realize how awful it was. I didn't realize how unfair it was that I had to wait 6 months for treatment. Sure. And, where the girl who was in the sorority next to me in my classes doing the same exact things, but not working and doing all the things I was, which I'm not saying I'm more deserving, but I'm saying I was doing all the things they told me to do. Right. Working hard, trying not to have debt after college, trying to graduate in those 8 semesters, because it's hard to graduate in 8 semesters. And I was on the dean's list my last 2 years, taking 18 hours a semester while having cervical cancer. And I didn't realize how shitty that was. You don't know better until you have better. I didn't have a washing machine until I was 20 years old, when my first apartment. I didn't realize how miraculous that is to have a washing machine. You could just wear the shirt you want to wear when you want to wear it, And so I tell people that because even I, like, now, if my washing machine goes out, I'm like, oh my God, I got 4 kids. How am I going to survive? But my parents never had one, and they had to go every 3 months and spend hundreds of. So it's like, you don't know better until you have better. But like, I'm still struggling the same fight, like barely, like right after, I guess it was about 10 years ago when I bought my house. I'll never sell this house. I have a 3.5 interest rate, and like, it's just crazy. Like the world is changing. And so millennials like us, like, we've gone through savings when we've lost careers, and I hear people say all the time, Mandie, why couldn't you find a job in Birmingham? They say Birmingham is the hub for now hiring college students. I said, yeah, because they want to pay $40,000 a year, and I have 20 years experience. And so that's why these college kids are taking it, because not saying they can't even really survive on that. But with roommates or with parents, they can. But they were offering me that when I was interviewing after I was trying to decide what I was going to do. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, I can do my advocacy work full time and run for office and sell art and figure it out for that much, So I feel you on the, like, I'm a millennial who has literally done the shit. Like, I've done it. And I don't want my kids to have to go through that, So it's like, I'm not one of those people that was like, well, I grew up and did it and worked hard. And yeah, I did. But I don't want everybody else to have to struggle just because I did in things. And there are people who have it. My dad always would say, there's people who have it worse. Oh, there always is somebody who has it worse. But I think that's why a lot of my life, I didn't realize how bad it was. And that's why, like, a lot of people in Alabama in poverty, they don't know any better. They've never had better. They've never seen much better. So, like, it's a shame what our politicians are doing to people, because they think, oh, if I have an extra $20 after payday and paying my bills, I can go to the movies. I'm living it up, and it shouldn't be that way, and then one medical incident, takes their house away, or
exactly.
Sorry, rambling a little bit.
No.
It's an incredible story.
Yeah, it really is. Really is. Okay, so Mandie, before we get to, like, our call to action, let's talk about, we are recording this. Today is Thursday, May 14th.
Yes.
You have a primary on Tuesday, May 19th. Talk to me about the incumbent, who you're challenging to replace, who else is running alongside of you. Kind of give me the landscape of what you're facing right now.
Okay, yeah, that's great. So technically, I do not have a primary because I'm
Okay.
the only Democratic candidate. So I automatically, after the primary, am the Democratic
Oh,
candidate.
wow. Okay.
Right. So thank God for that. So I've been doing a
Yeah.
lot of work trying to help some other people who do have primaries coming up Tuesday. Now, I do have the incumbent. Her name's April Weaver, and she basically was given this seat. Nobody ran against her the two times that she had it, a special election in 2022 and then again in 2024. And that was
Can,
also
can,
one
can
of the
I
things.
pause you right there?
Yeah.
Why do you think it is that April Weaver ran unopposed? Is there sort of a political, is there an appetite in your area for people to be politically involved, or like how does that happen as a senator?
Yeah. Okay. So this is the first year like our Democratic slate has over like 300 candidates on it. And it's because people our age have gotten really tired and are like, damn,
Yeah.
we're giving the people the seats. But I will say that I mean, it's sadly it wasn't just this state senate; it's a lot of them. So
Mhm.
again, I think a lot of people were kind of dormant like me, like we were in Democratic parties, we did things, but it was like we didn't feel like. Again, I am a poor girl from rural Alabama. I never
Yeah.
thought I was going to run for office. I never, ever, ever thought that. Um, and so when it came to that moment, it's, people always tell you, thank you for running for office, or, it's so it is a lot of sacrifice
Yeah.
because, I mean, you get so much hate.
Yeah.
And, especially if you lose, I've seen so many friends like lose hope because people tear them down. You're like, oh, you like them. Like, well, how do you know you're going to lose? At least you ran. Like, at least we didn't give away the seat. So even
Right.
if you got 10% of the vote, that's 10% that didn't go to that sleazeball. And I get it. I'm sure that's hard, but sadly, it's just something that happened, and the Democratic Party here is just not what it should be. But we're working on that. We are working
Mhm.
so hard, and to bring together not only the Democratic Party that we can, but like DSA and even more leftists, which I'm part of DSA and I'm on, the Democratic ticket. I am in Shelby County Democrats on the executive board. I'm one of those old school Democrats that believes that there's something left in the Democratic Party worth
Mm.
saving, and there's good people there. And
So do
so
you just have down ballot Republican voters there? Is that
it's
is that
very
kind of the
hard. Yes.
makeup? Okay.
So in my district alone, it is the reddest Senate district. It's actually plus 39.
Okay.
And so I think the thing is, Shelby County that I live in is the wealthiest county in Alabama. And I think that has a lot to do with the red voters. But I will tell
Mhm.
you this, Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, just like the guy was like plus 37 and had a
Yeah.
runoff. So, and I just, I'm not even supposed to be here today. So, like, don't
Yeah.
tell me it's not doable. Um,
Absolutely.
and so I think that a lot of it is, again, people are not encouraged. And again, the Democratic Party I'm not trying to be ugly and this doesn't sound bad, but they've not helped me with anything. They don't
Mhm.
do anything for you. Now, I do know people throughout the party that are dear friends, that donate $5 in my campaign a month and things. And so those keep me going. But it's not like all of a sudden people come in to help you run and do these
Yeah.
things. Like some people think that they show up and they're like, ta-da, I'm running, and they're going to swarm in and just
Uh-huh.
the only time they're going to do that is like if you think about races like in Tennessee, Allie, when she ran, what is her last name? Sweet blonde girl, Democratic in the House of Reps. She ran a special election. She's doing a campaign. It's called Pot for Potholes, like legalizing marijuana to
To
fill
subsidize.
potholes.
Fix
Yeah.
roads.
Yes, to fix the
Smart.
roads. I know. And
Perfectly smart.
I mentioned that and I was like, I'm gonna steal that. I want to work. Allison Bain, I think is her name, maybe. I'm so sorry, y'all. But I love her. She ran a really fabulous campaign and as a Democrat and came really close to beating the Republican in like Nashville area last year in 2025, I believe. But I think the Democratic Party jumped in like at the end when it was like, oh, she actually has a chance. And when they jump in at the end like that, first of all, it makes it look like they're taking credit for your accomplishment so far to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
second of all, it's too late, like, and that's what
Right.
I've told them. Because I actually, talked to some about running a statewide office last year. And I was like, well, what help are you going to give me? Because I'm a poor girl from Alabama that's unemployed and sells art for a living.
Mhm.
And it was like, oh, we can introduce you to people, but it's like, it's not there like it is for Republicans. There's a
Sure.
network built in Alabama for Republicans running for office where there started, the machine. If you look back, I want to say it was in Playboy, or like, it was a really good article about the machine from Alabama that like produced politicians like Katie Britt and
Mhm.
Jared Hudson and these people that you see, and they get a lot of backing from
Yeah.
people because they're set up from college or, to go into places,
Right.
and
They're
the
basically
Democrats.
groomed for these roles.
That's exactly what it is. She's groomed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's one thing about like coming in and running as a Democrat in Alabama. I was a wild card. People did not expect me at all.
Mhm.
But it's fun to like the last year I've been campaigning and like just to see, them be like, oh, okay, well, we didn't realize, what she
Right.
was capable of. So it's been exciting. And I think
Yeah.
that even though it's a plus 39 district, I have so much faith because I feel like a lot of Republican voters back in 2024, I have 4 kids in Alabaster City schools. I have a child that has like an IEP plan and all these
Yeah.
sorts of things, is on the spectrum. And I talk to these other parents who are typical like Christian Republican moms, and we talk and they're feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is not like George Bush W we voted for 20 years ago. Like, and
Right.
so they're all starting to rethink those sorts of things.
Good.
And so I think that that's a good, you
Mhm.
just have to connect with them on the issues. And I feel like there are Republicans that support me that are like volunteers on my campaign that are like, Mandie's not that leftist. And I'm like, maybe I just went so far to the left, they think I'm coming back around. Like, I was like, because Mandie not left, because I just,
Yeah.
I'm that hippie girl that just wants to take care of people and,
Mhm. Mhm.
but yeah, I think it's doable, honestly.
I hope so. I mean, just- you've convinced me,
Oh,
and I'm up here in the north, but I think you have the power just based on this conversation to manifest just about anything you want. Um,
I hope
so
so.
yeah, me too. Me too, Mandy. So Seth, do you want to handle the final question of
Of
the
course.
interview with
Of course.
Mandy? The question, the magic question, the question we ask everybody that comes on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mandy, being a progressive platform that we are, we want to make sure that you don't take any foreign interest money, you don't take any super PAC money, grassroots progressive. And is that your platform?
That is my platform. No
Very
PAC
cool.
money, no, no money from Israel, nothing like that.
Very
The only PAC money I would take is if it was something for like women's reproductive health or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that would be helpful in reaching more voters that are progressive.
yeah.
Because I think trying to meet people constantly in the middle is why we're where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
So I do need people that are over on this side. I'm not
Yeah,
willing to
sure.
move over
That's
anymore.
understandable. And we've had other candidates that have gotten, endorsements and donations from like the union that they work for, things like
Yeah.
that. That's completely understandable,
Oh yeah,
right?
I'm endorsed by several unions too, and
Yeah.
the Cannabis Coalition, and I definitely am just for the advancement, and you said earlier, just access to things that other people in the country have too. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, come on now. So
Yep.
let's go. Sorry, finish your question, Seth.
No, I
No,
mean that's
that's
exactly what we wanted, and we
it.
have
Okay,
Yeah.
like
great.
we have a nice sliding scale. We have Chuck Schumer on the right, we have Bernie on the left, so we're just gonna slide Mandy all the way over to the
All the way to
left,
the Bernie
Yeah,
where
side.
the good
yeah.
guys reside, and so that's what we would love to see. And I just want to say thank you so much for giving us some
Thank
time.
Yeah.
you.
You're a rare find in Alabama. I'm in Montebello, so I will be voting for you.
Blue
Thank
dots need to stick
you.
together in
Yes.
Alabama.
Oh yeah.
Mandy, can you let the audience know how they can find your website, your social, so they can get to know more
Yes.
about you and support your campaign?
Yes, I would love to. So my website is going to be Mandie for Alabama. That's Mandie with an IE. So MANDIE for Alabama.com. And you can go on there and actually sign up for our volunteer newsletter. And
Okay.
we're going to start canvassing in June. So
Nice.
yeah, you can sign up for that. It'll keep you updated on events. I also am on all of the socials except for what is formerly known as Twitter. Don't
Yes.
do that one, but all of my handles are going to be Mandie for Alabama.
Okay.
You'll also see the Mandie Ledkins sometimes, but most people
Oh,
don't recognize Ledkins.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
Mandie with an IE is typically what I go with.
Okay. Listen, Mandie, it's such a pleasure to meet you.
Same.
You have, I mean, what's the word the kids are using? Aura. Your aura is like
Oh,
immaculate, right? I could
thank
listen to you
you.
talk forever and ever. And it's also just that Southern charm,
That's
you
what I was
know?
about to say. No, it's a Southern accent,
And that too,
probably.
it's the accent, it's the charm, it's your ability to connect with people through story. It's
Mm.
something I love so much about Southerners, and you've just taken over my heart. And I wish you
Oh,
all the luck in the world. We'll keep our eye on you. You're a friend of the show now. If you
thank
need
you.
anything at all, let us know. We're here for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all letting me come on in the conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we wish you all the luck in the world. I'll be voting for
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Love
Thank you.
that. Love that. Thanks again, Mandie. Best of luck. Let us know how things are going.
All right. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Well, Allie, that was just a real pleasure talking to Mandie Ledkins. She's running for state senate in District 14 of Alabama. And I mean, points for her being a millennial as always. But I mean, her story is incredible. I
Yeah.
mean, growing up in poverty, being able to go to college just because her father was a veteran, there was no other
Mhm.
way, going through cervical cancer in
Yeah.
college,
In
going
college.
going
No
through,
insurance,
yeah.
no safety nets,
I mean,
nothing.
nothing is going to deter this woman. She's
Yeah.
already been through it. She's been through the ringer. She's come out
Hmm.
the other side. She's got 4 kids. She's got pets that she's dealing with delicately. I mean, that's a person that's going to fight. That's a
Yeah.
person who's not going to give up. She could have given up at any point in the last 20 years, and who could have blamed her? But she's here and she's uncompromising. I love her energy
So
and
feisty,
yeah,
so unapologetically herself.
yeah.
I'm just bewitched by her. I think she is the real deal. I think I understand why probably so many people from Alabama don't even realize that she's running as a Democrat because she's just, it's common sense, right? The things she talks about are the
Mhm.
things I'm sure almost all, people from Alabama actually care about.
Mhm.
And I hope the absolute best for her. I hope she comes back. She automatically wins the primary. My God, Alabama, get yourself some Democrats. I mean, that's the wildest thing I've heard so
Yeah.
far on the
No,
podcast.
that's unfortunately a thing here. I mean, you go to vote at the ballot box, and there are at least 3 or 4 races where people are running unopposed, and
Wild.
it's just like the Democratic Party doesn't see any hope in the South.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I tell you what, this redistricting thing, it may be the thing that really gets things going down here because
Hmm.
people are coming out in droves. Early voting in Louisiana was crazy. So this redistricting thing, it may have spurred something that the Republicans were not intending, and they certainly don't count on somebody like Mandie Ledkins
Fingers crossed.
fighting them in the state senate.
I
So.
mean, she's a fireball. Love her. Love her. That was so much fun. Like I said, I could really listen to her talk forever. And she's, if she's going to run and automatically win the primary, I feel like it's kismet. It's all meant to be. I'm keeping my fingers and toes crossed for Mandie Ledkins because I think she's the right person. And I think Alabama needs somebody like her representing.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, and so if you're in Alabama, you already know what it is. If you live outside the state of Alabama, but you're digging her energy, and how could you not? Please
Right.
consider, volunteering, throwing a little donation her way. I mean, these are uncompromising progressive candidates that we're bringing you, and Mandie is the definition of one.
She is the real deal. All right, Seth. Well, we've got a little bit of a break before our next batch of interviews. I think they start up again on Sunday. Today is Thursday, so we've got Sunday, Monday, double book Tuesday. Woo!
Hot diggity dog.
Primary season is crazy,
Yep.
but I love it. We
Yeah,
love
it's
it.
time to go to work. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, I will see you, sir, in a couple of days.
Yes, indeed. Later.
Bye, Seth.